Automatic gates, electric fences, CCTV cameras, and even fingerprint scanners are all part of electrical or solar systems installation. On today's episode of the Groundbreaker podcast series, we are meeting an electrical engineering maestro who owns the Jastill Enterprises Limited company. Hi, Janice.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so much for coming to the Groundbreaker podcast series.
thank you.
Now, you founded, and you're also the CEO of Jastill Enterprises.
Yes, I am.
Could you please tell us more about that?
Jastill Enterprises is a company that ideally deals with four different things. The first thing that we deal is electrical energy, as well as solar energy, or as you might term it, green energy. The second thing that we deal with is security solutions. That means we do CCTV, electric fences, alarm controls, fingerprint scanners, and everything that encompasses the security systems. The third thing that we deal with is automation. That is the gate automation, smart home automations, that is the curtains, the music, the lights, anything. We can basically automate anything that you want. The fourth thing that we deal with is ICT, and which basically encompasses structured cabling, distribution of networks and different systems, and we encompass all these things to give you all four things in one same company.
Right.
Yes.
And you're talking about we.
Yes.
And for me, I'm really just excited that you're a female engineer,
Yes.
electrical engineer.
Yes.
Could you tell us a bit about that journey of you as a female entering the male-dominated field?
The gender bias that one gets to witness in a male-dominated field is not easy. But I would say it's one of the challenges that I actually took to actually venture in an entrepreneur aspect into this field. The challenges were vast because I remember, like in campus, I was
Yeah.
the only female in my class. Actually, in my school where we were less than 5 students. Five female students.
Yeah.
That is from the first years all the way to the fourth years who were actually pursuing my course. Equally, when I got into the field, I would say at the onset, the majority of my colleagues were, I would say actually at the onset, 100% of my colleagues were male. But with progression and with time, and due to the challenges that I endured first, I have made it a personal initiative to always make sure that every place that I go, even if it's a casual employee who is female, I always make a point of having a personal touch with this person to empower them, to encourage them, and to really motivate them to keep pushing on in this field. The disparities were there initially. You can
Right.
imagine as an entrepreneur and you're female, the pay disparity was there. Some clients felt just because I'm female, I don't deserve to have the same pay as my
Yeah.
male counterparts. Some would even, at some point, just blatantly to refuse to pay. The services were rendered because they know you're a woman. There's not much that you can do about it. But I would say with time and in the structures that I have incorporated in my company, these are not challenges that currently I would say that I'm going through. These are challenges that I dealt with at the onset.
Okay.
Yes.
So how old is Jastill Enterprises?
Jastill Enterprises was founded in 2018.
2018.
Yes. So this year we are actually commemorating our 7th year in the industry.
Congrats.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 7 years in the industry it's quite some time, and I can say that we've accomplished a lot for a young company like that one.
And so from what I'm getting, you of course, like any normal person, you
Yes.
went through college
Yes.
and then you went through employment.
Yes.
And after how long did you decide to begin or start your company? And what is it that inspired it?
Sometimes entrepreneurship is a calling. Sometimes I love to say that because I stayed in the corporate world for 5 years, and after 5 years is when I finally decided I've gone to school, I have the merits, I have the technical know-how. I chose to believe in myself. I chose to venture into something that was going to challenge me every day. There's a monotony that comes in being in a corporate, and especially being a technical person. I always felt like I could make and do more with myself than just being stuck in the mundane norm with the
And the
corporate setup.
employment,
Yes.
we usually call it 9 to 5.
9 to 5, yes. So I figured there is a lot more that I could actually do.
Yeah.
So I challenged myself. I resigned where I was working, and I began Jastill Enterprises. There was a lot of uncertainty when I was beginning it,
Yeah.
but I knew from the onset, I knew what I wanted. And 7 years later, I have not disappointed myself, I would say so.
That sounds good. So, are there any particular things that you prepared before deciding to resign?
By the time I was getting to the resignation point, I had really thought through what I really wanted. So I founded my company while I was still in employment.
Okay.
I registered the company. I went through the whole process. I actually got my first clients when I was in employment.
Wow.
So by the time I came to quit, it was, I don't want to say it was a rushed decision, but I feel like if I had my family and friends here, they would say that to them, the unveiling seemed like it was a very rushed process. But the only thing that I would say I had prepared myself was I think I had like only 3 months
Okay.
of salary saved up. And when I decided to quit at that point, I was actually at the end of finishing the one project that I had. It had like only 2 months left
Right.
for the project to end. I did not have any other project that I was actually waiting for, but I left with a lot of belief in myself. I believed so much in myself. Sometimes it scares me how much
You
of
believed in
courage and
you.
belief in
Yeah.
myself I did. But I did. And I stepped out, and in less than 2 months, I had like 3 projects that I was running now by myself. And over time, I have built a clientele that I would say I'm proud of.
Right.
Yes.
So let me ask, and I'm still dwelling on that same question.
Yes.
When you want to take a risk, actually from employment to entrepreneurship, we are told to take calculated risks.
Yes.
Or measured risks.
Yes.
Do you categorize yourself as one person who did that? Or because you mentioned something to do with rushed and 3 months salary.
Yes.
Did you take calculated risk?
I would say no. My risks were actually not calculated. I love to say that I took a risk at myself and with myself.
Okay.
I risked this one time with the passion that I took a risk for my passion. I took a risk for my dream. I had no plan. I had nothing in place. I just took a risk at the dream that I had.
Would you advise someone to
I don't know.
do what you did?
I think the advice that I would give someone
Yeah.
out there who would want to do what I have is honestly, if you feel that your dream is what you want to follow,
Yeah.
that is the best thing that can push you.
So, could you please tell us your startup journey and how you made it through?
I would say, I wish what I know now, someone back then had told me. When I began off,
Yeah.
it was quite impossible for me to come out as an electrical engineer. I frankly had to begin as an electrical technician.
Okay.
Because for people to believe that you can actually implement and draw and design something, the majority of the people I met out there tend to, quote unquote, believe that first you must be able to know. They have to see you hands-on on this skill for them to really have the confidence that you can be able to do it. The practice is very capital intensive. That's another thing that nobody told me. It's quite capital intensive in the aspect, as you said, we need tools.
Right.
And the common belief and notion that people have out here is just if you have a tester and a pliers, you can become an electrical engineer.
go.
You're good to go. First things first is when I was in the corporate world, I was also dealing more on the technical side. So I sort of had a rough idea on the things that were needed because we were still using them much as I was still in employment. But that is not to say that when I left, I had these things in place. Especially the first 6 months, I heavily depended on having to rent out equipment. It was such an expensive, very expensive path that I took, but I had no option. That meant that all the profits that I was getting, I had to, at the back of my mind, know that I have to buy these things, I have to buy these tools. And that means as your company grows equally and you have different teams, that means also the different teams also have to have all these things, and they also have to have the means to carry all these things when they're going to the different clients, projects, and sites. So these are some of the things that I've actually had to learn on the job by default. So it's a capital intensive venture, I would say. But I'm very grateful for my friends and family. Because also, much as your friends and your family are going to invest in you, you also want people who are investing in you, not just because you're their friend or because you're their family member, but it's because they actually believe in what you're doing. And I actually had to make sure that those were also my primary clients when I was beginning off.
Right, and from what you've said, I've actually gathered the challenges that you faced, and I've also gathered some steps that you took. For instance, you said you had to begin as a
Electrical technician.
Yes. So, for instance, if I needed my TV mounted on the wall, then you were the person to be called, right?
Of course.
And should I say that it's okay to start small from the level that you can with what you have?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
As you grow and market yourself and be able to gain the trust of the people. Because I think part of what you've also said is that it's not easy to get people's trust to give you a massive project, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. I would say is everybody doesn't have to necessarily begin where I began. We all have different opportunities. Um, if I had the opportunity of I don't know, having friends who are running very big projects, maybe my stepping stone could have I began with having an apartment block that had like 100 houses. It could have been a beautiful stepping stone, but the people around me did not have these massive projects. The small projects that they had, they are the projects that I had to make do with them. And it comes down to the point where I keep saying everybody who gets in engineering at some point, you have to learn the virtue of patience. Because you have to work with what you have. If what you're working with is the big projects, good for you. If what you have is the small projects, use that. Use that as your showcase and run with it.
So you're saying you're celebrating 7 years?
Yes.
Soon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk about the milestone that you've made over the years.
One, I would say, would be the human resource milestone. It's a milestone in that primarily I was the primary laborer of the company. I was the HR, I was the marketer, I was the the debt collector of the company. I was all in one.
Right.
So it's been a big milestone for me to accomplish in that where I am right now. I have people that I have trained over time. I have people who have also come with their expertise. I have employees, that's what I mean. I have employees that have been able to delegate to different departments and different things.
Right.
I would also talk about the milestone of the different projects we've been able to achieve. As I said at the beginning, we had very humble projects that we were working with. And right now, the projects that we are working on right now, that is a huge step. There's a very big, huge step from what we had initially and where we are right now. Yes, when we began, we were just working at one town, like we're just doing things at Kiambu County level. I know the fact that comfortably, like even now when I'm seated here, I know that I have different people in different counties. We even have some projects outside from the country. I would say that is such a big milestone for Jastill. And as we celebrate these 7 years, if I sit down and draw a picture of where we are and where we are right now, it's wonderful. It's miraculous. That's what I can say.
Congrats on the milestones, really.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about these 2 points here. This part about sustainability, green energy,
Yes.
and all that. Could you talk a bit about those two things? How your business has pursued those two things?
Electrical energy can be generated by very many different things. And there has been a call on green and sustainable energy, as you're calling it.
Yeah.
At the onset, I was dealing with electrical power, which is Kenya Power. And as I got the entrance into the market, I knew green energy was going to catch up.
Right.
So I had to go back with part of my team to get certifications for green energy. That was the first step that we did. We got certifications to enable us to actually carry out these works from design all the way to build. Green energy has become such a big thing currently because I feel that is where the world is moving into. Everybody wants to
True.
have sustainable power with what they're doing.
I want to have solar when
Yeah.
I build, yeah.
Yes, it's a thing. Nobody wants to be paying bills constantly while you have naturally free given power.
Right.
Yes.
How many members of the team do you have, employees?
So currently I have permanent staff and I also have others that we love to call temporary or casual workers. When we began, I was only the sole employee of the company. Right now we are 10, including myself, 10 official permanent employees of the company. And we have more than 40 temporary people. When our jobs expand and we need people, we have more than 40 people. And the 40 people are the people we have them on our admin room. Like when we need these people, these are the 40 we have.
And that's across the country?
Yes, that's across the country.
Right. There's a part of the question that you didn't tackle,
Okay.
and that's on you being a woman.
Yes.
I feel like it's a very important question for you to answer. And that's especially when you go pitching. Or when people call the company and they realize that the founder, the CEO, the owner is a woman.
Yes.
Is that a challenge, or do they accept you for what you are? Do they look at you as a woman, or do they look at what you can deliver? And I'm asking you that because I'm trying to figure out whether we are anywhere close to believing in women as being capable, just as capable as men.
At the beginning, that had to be the main challenge that I had. On all honesty, that had to be the main challenge that I had.
Yeah.
There was a notion that as a woman, there are roles that I couldn't be able to handle. And the notion was, I am a broker for the job. Like I'm a brokerage.
Yeah.
Like I'm just getting the job and then I'm going to give this job to other people to actually come and implement it.
Yeah.
This is why I said I really had to begin as a technical person myself.
Yeah. So
This
that
was
you
to
can
actually prove a
show-
point.
Yeah.
Yes. The first clients that I always got, the first jobs that they actually gave me, I used to be the person on the ground actually doing this job. And the reason why I purposely did this was to instill confidence. Because I realized when I tell people that we're doing this job and then they just see me on supervision basis, they were not able to really encompass their minds around me being the person who is really, really, really behind the whole scene of things. So that was actually a challenge, and it was quite difficult, very difficult. But over time, I will say the number one advantage that I would say of how I was able to circumvent the challenge into now an advantage is the clients who handled me first, the ones that I was able to get, and I was able to give them the confidence. There's something that they noticed. My attention to detail and the keenness of making sure that when something is finished, there's that perfection that I always made sure that was being. I had to make sure that the perfectionism is there. It's something that I struggled initially with the first few employees that I had,
Yeah.
because they couldn't understand why I was really going the extra mile of making sure that things were done to the finesse of the details the way I wanted. And now the clients were able to see the difference between the services that I was offering and the services that other people maybe were offering. And I was able to help them build that confidence. And the referrals that they gave me actually what have pushed us to be where we are right now.
That's nice.
Yes.
That's really good and
is.
encouraging and inspiring.
It is. It
and
is.
also motivating.
Yes,
I
it
can
is.
just add that.
Yeah.
So I would just like to ask. We call it electrical engineering, but green energy is coming in. So are we gonna call it electrical and green
Energy. So now,
engineering, or what are we calling it now?
here's how it works.
Yeah.
Green energy is actually called renewable energy.
Okay.
So electrical energy, from the layman understanding, electrical energy to them is KPLC. For the purpose of us Kenyans, we term that as KPLC. Renewable energy actually has its own separate board.
Okay.
It is not any electrical engineer that will be able to undertake the projects of renewable energy.
Okay.
Yes. So this is where when I was talking about certification and going back for classes and learning,
Yeah.
it is so that much as the operation in the house will be the same, but the installation is different, the design is different. So this is where you actually have to go back, learn about renewable energy, get your certification so that you can be able now to actualize the job.
But you're still an electrical
Yes,
engineer.
but you're still an electrical engineer.
Are there people who specifically specialize in renewable energy?
Yes,
What
yes,
do we call them?
Yes. Renewable energy engineers.
Ah.
They're still electrical engineers, but now at the end,
Yeah.
they are more specialized in terms of renewable energy.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Anyways, anyone looking forward to taking this venture, what would you tell them? What advice do you have for them? In the end,
Patience.
what do they need to know?
Patience. I would tell them to be patient. Patience is a virtue
Yeah.
that you cannot afford to miss.
Right.
And honesty is the other virtue that by default you have to learn if you do not have it. You do not want to have clients who are doubting your honesty. You can imagine we're dealing with products, we're dealing with services. You have to deliver the products that you said you're going to deliver to the standards that you said you're going to deliver. Honesty is a virtue that you honestly have to have. So what I would tell anybody who wants to venture into this, do not be afraid. Get your certifications. Start where you can. Be honest, be virtuous, and be patient with the process.
Right.
It will eventually take you there.
I want to add something there because you mentioned it. Attention to details.
Yes.
That perfectionist nature. Because that's the only way you're going to deliver good work and people are going to recommend you. People are going to call you back, right?
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us on the Groundbreaker podcast series. It's been a nice conversation.
Yeah.
At least I've learned a few things about challenges and overcoming them and having a dream and following that dream.
Yes.
And I think you're a great engineer.
Thank you so
That
very much for that.
Really does inspire change.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Great. So this has been Janice,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Janice Mugo.
Yeah.
Yeah, an electrical engineer with Jastill Enterprises Limited company. That's it,
Thank you.
right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you
That's
so
good
much
to know
for
that.
joining us on the Groundbreaker podcast series. I'm Awori Dongo, stepping in for Nancy Nelima. See you next time.